Hello, everybody. This is Ricky Mike, coach of the Virginia Victinis, and welcome to this draft analysis, draft recap, whatever you want to call it, for this new Wi-Fi league that we had joined, the FBL, that stands for Final Battle League. You can see a little logo on the Mewtwo on the bottom there. Um, so yeah, new league that we're joining. This is an upload required league, and we're happy to be here. I'm doing this thing again where I'm joining too many leagues at the beginning of a shift in the meta, but hear me out. Hear me out. This league actually has a physical trophy for the winner. Um, so yeah, very few leagues do that, and I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. So I have only played one of those leagues before, and then we got hacks out of playoffs on that. So very much looking forward playing this league and taking that trophy home. In any case, just to give you a few things about this league. This league has two divisions with 12 coaches each, meaning a total of 24 coaches, which is a lot of coaches. Hopefully, there will be a lot of dropouts during the season, but that's for the admins to deal with. Also, we are on the Scarlet Division, and we are the overall 4 pick, which is fantastic. On most of my leagues I've been joining recently, I've been getting either the 10th or the 9th pick. Uh, Having the 4 pick for a change is a nice change. Is a nice change, you know. Um, so hopefully we get a good Pokemon, right? Also, this league follows the 20 to 1 tier point system, with 20 tiers overall, of course, being the more expensive and 1 point being the cheapest. Um, I like it. I think very few leagues now do the AVC type of tiering, and I think that's a little bit more restrictive because it forces you to, if you don't getting early on the C's pool, then you end up with having suit power Pokemon on that tier that maybe shouldn't even be there, just because you're looking to that. So this type of tiering gives you a little bit more versatility on your team. So yeah, ready for that. As far as the draft, we have everything has 115 points to draft a total of 10 to 12 Pokemon, meaning that you don't have to draft um, more than 10 if you don't want to, but you cannot draft less than 10. And yeah, um, again, pretty standard for this type of leagues. I think. Then, as far as Terra captains or how we handle Terra on this league, they give us 25 points as a budget for Terra captains. And we're free to have as many Terra captains as we want, as long as we stay within the 25-point budget. It's of course some Pokemon are banned from terraing, of course, like Palafin or Dragapult or Samacenta Crown. Oh yeah, Samacenta Crown is allowed in this league, so that's fun stuff, right? In any case, once you have your Terra captains, they are allowed to Terra into any type, which is my favorite type of Terra type, uh, Terra rule, I guess, because I don't know, I just enjoy it. I think it's much more versatile and fun. A lot of people hate it, but I don't. I actually prefer it like that. It is a little bit difficult for me because since I prepare my teams myself, changing Terras is very costly and grindy. But I have a ton of Terra shards, so I don't worry about that too much. Um, Other than that, the league is pretty standard. We're playing level 50, thank goodness. Uh, you know, 6v6. You have sleep clause, you have species clause, no one hit KO moves. Your standard abilities are banned like Moody, standard stuff. The only thing that I should mention that is unusual about this league compared to others is the fact that we have item clause, which means that you can only have one type of item uh, per battle, which, contrary to a lot of people, I actually very much enjoy. I think that forces creativity into people, and I really don't like facing teams with the same type of item multiple times. However, you do have to keep in mind that the item clause is in place when you're drafting a team because since you cannot run out down one set of heavy duty books, for example, you have to be careful about drafting a team that is too weak to hazards, or make sure that you have very good removal, which, as we all know probably by now, is a premium on this generation, even after home. So, with that said, that's the overall rules and stuff about the league. So let's move on into what we are drafting. Um, and for again, I'm four pick, and for my first pick, um, I'm gonna go ahead and take the best thing on the board at the time that it got to me, and that's gonna be Chiang Pao, which is ridiculous. I don't know how this thing got to me at four pick. I actually campaigned hard for this thing to get banned because this thing is a monster and it is super unfun to play against. Luckily for everybody else, I guess, is banned from Terrain, but even then, Chiang Pao is still a stupidly scary Pokemon to face. Um, this is the only Pokemon that was worth 20 points, but that did not matter to me. It's a Chiempao, and anytime that I can draft a Chiempao, I will draft Chiempao. So yeah, this is Gore, the God Butcher, but because we cannot give it that title during this season, it's gonna be called Gore, the Rank Master, because this thing actually has been killing it in both battle stage singles and BGC. So one of the best Pokemon in the format, probably the best Pokemon in the format was Flormain is banned. And yeah, very happy to have drafted it. For our second Pokemon, I want, like I mentioned before, Iron Claws. You have to be careful. I don't necessarily want to be drafting. I don't necessarily want to be running heavy duty boost on this thing every single week. So I decided to try to deep in early for a good way of removal. So we ended up drafting for 16 points our boy Peloton, all rights reserved. The Iron traits. This is our first shiny of the team, also. Um, and yeah, this Pokemon is great. It gives me a ground type, which is always good to have to avoid losing to a Regieleki, for example, or electric types in general. It also gives me a Steel type, not the bulkiest Steel type, but a Steel type nonetheless. And most important of all, gives me very reliable rapid spin, as well as very much utility with Stealth Rocks, with Knockoff, with Ball Switch, and it has good offenses and very good coverage between Earthquake, Rock moves, even gets the Ice Spinner thing. So yeah, very good. Very happy that we were able to get it. If I didn't get it this round, I was gonna get a Snipe. I've been told by several people. Uh, and yeah, because Peloton is a training machine, I guess this our Iron Trace is gonna be known as Peloton, the ones well trained all during this season. Next up is gonna be our first Terra Captain. It's a Pokemon near dear to my heart. I have used it several times. And it's actually coming back from our latest championship season at the YCL. It is Soundwave, the Iron Moth. Um, yeah, this Pokemon is a monster. Cost me 17 points, which is fine. I'm spending my points really fast at this point, but you know what? I don't care. Uh, I always wanted to try this Pokemon, and people always snipe it to me. It got to me a third round. I will take it any time of the week. If you follow our YCL season, this thing is extremely scary, particularly when it can Terra. A lot of leagues have been actually banning it from Terra, but the FBL decided not to, and I am gonna take full advantage of that. Um, and of course, because it's coming back from a championship season, Soundwave this time will be known as Soundwave the Paldean champion, or the Paldea champion. So super excited to have him back. It's gonna put a lot of work, I'm pretty sure. Next up, one of my favorite Pokemon on Draft League, and I can't believe people didn't draft it until the fourth round. So see if it's available, then I will take it. So making a return from our last championship team in Generation 8 is Instinct the Zapdos. Uh, this Pokemon is fantastic. I know, I am aware that it has lost defog and toxic, but ultimately, I don't care. This Pokemon is a excellent pivot, is a great physical war. Is gonna annoy my opponents with static, especially since this meta seems to be very heavily physically offensive. Um, and it can be, in low key, can be a very threatening Pokemon when he decides to go on the offense for a right matchup. Um, this Pokemon is coming straight up from Pokemon X the Yellow Darkness. And as always, it shall be known as Instinct the 100 times victorious because he just keeps on winning. Um, right. So next, my team is looking great. I do have a couple of weeks that actually all but one Pokemon right now is weak to rocks, I suppose. Um, but they're very good offensive bombs. Zapdos is my only real wall, I want to say. Not really. So I'm thinking that I need to draft a wall. I'm not a big fan of bulky waters this generation because they lost Toxic and they lost Skull. But sometimes you need them, especially if you're looking for particular roles. So I just decided to dip into the 10 points Pokemon. Since Zapdos was my cheapest Pokemon at this point, and it was 15 points, and we decided to grab Neptune, the Vaporeon. Um, so yeah, not much I can say about this. This is like I said, it lost Toxic, it lost Skull, but it still has great utility in Wish, which is gonna be good for my team, I suppose, because i- my the opponent should have a hard time getting rid of Zapdos, for example, and this thing can attack Ice Beams that are directed to it, Rock moves that are directed to it, and it can heal it back with with a wish. Baton pass is allowed. We just cannot baton pass. It just has to be dry baton pass, but we can baton pass. So it still gives me momentum, which if you know my playstyle, I'm very heavy into, and it still gets decent coverage, and also gets Calm Mind this generation. So I've been meaning to try it on the evolutions. I haven't had a chance to do it, but it seems like this team fits pretty well into my team. So yeah, we're gonna give it a shot. I had drafted Vaporeon several times before, or a few times before, I guess, and it's always been middle ground. So we'll see if it can put on work this time. This one is coming straight up from the Galar region, and it shall be known as Neptune the Sudden because it's full of water, right? Anyway, moving on for our next uh, Pokemon. Um, I at this point I noticed I'm a little bit light on hazards of my own. So far I only have access to Stealth Rocks on Iron Threads and Toxic Spikes in Iron Moth. Uh, and if in I have always been a big fan of hazards. However, this generation even more so, mostly because of the access to spikes that a lot of Pokemon gets, and the fact that removal is so lacking compared to previous generations. So I decided that I needed to look into somewhat of a reliable hazard stacker, and also a few typings that I wasn't missing. So we dipping into the temple moon again, and we are grabbing Peach, the shiny Yancy, Princess Peach. Um, I always wanted to draft this Pokemon, man. Uh, Getting shiny Yancy is kind of hard, and I wanted to show it off. It doesn't look as good as the Mega, obviously. Uh, but yeah, no, this Pokemon, I seen it put some work on a few leagues now. People seem to enjoy this Pokemon a lot. I've never been the biggest fan of it, but for the lack of better fairies, I think this will do. Also, it gives me access to Star Rocks, a secondary one, and it also gives me access to Spikes because apparently it gets to this generation. Um, Again, it's a fairy type, it's a rock type, which is somewhat good to tank certain hits. Unfortunately, it doesn't resist fighting, but we do have a Zapdos for that. Um, and it could be low key, can be a threat with sets like Trick Room or even Rock Polish if you don't respect it. So, yeah, like I said, I always wanted to draft the Yancy. I never had the opportunity to do it, at least not on Wi-Fi. So I'm very happy to be able to use it during this season. It's coming straight from the Hoenn region, and this one will be known as Peach the Gorgeous Royale, which is an incredibly painful ribbon to get. You actually had to spend what 999,999 Poké Dollars to buy that stupid ribbon. But you know what? I think it's worth it. Uh, the answer looks very royal, looks very good. So yeah. Next up, at this point I have a fairy type, I have a steel type. I should probably complete my Um, Fairy Dragon Steel Core. Unfortunately, a lot of the dragons that I enjoy, like Garchomp, for example, they're already gone, far gone at this point. Um, Maybe Dragonite is still there, but I think that Pokemon is poo-poo without Terra, and broken with Terra. Um, so yeah, I'm looking at Pokemons that are available. The only one that I saw that I fits my team, and it has kind of a good speed tier based on what I have. Since my team is so fast right now, I do want some threats that are more middling speed, so I don't have too many holes on my team. So I decided to go with another Pokemon that I haven't drafted before, but I always wanted to, at least in Wi-Fi, and that's gonna be Goosilla, the Shiny Goodra. Um, yeah, it is not the Hisuian Goodra. Hisuian Goodra is a lot more expensive for some reason. People seem to really like the added Steel type. I don't think it adds too much. I think it's a little bit overvalued by most people at this point. I think this thing is just as good. I mean, it is just as bulky. I mean, if the Hisuian version got recovered, I would understand, but it doesn't. So we're stuck with the same kind of things. But anyway, this thing is gonna tank special hits like nobody's business. It can set up on opponents. It still has access to Curse and Iron Defense with Body Press. Thank goodness. And yeah, like I said, it completes my Fairy Dragon Steel Core. It can be very dangerous with Solves. It gives me a good switching into Grass Span. Yeah, it's overall solid Pokemon. This is actually a Pokemon that I hatched accidentally shiny. I was just breeding for regular Gudra and I ended up getting a shiny. So of course we're gonna use it and show it off. And of course, since it is in a Lobble, Godzilla is gonna be known as Godzilla the Great Friend with the best friend ribbon. Coming all the way down from the Alolan region. I got this probably on Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, or Sun and Moon, one of the two. I don't remember. Anyway, moving on. Uh, at this point, I think I have a very solid overall squad with what I have. So everything else that I get, I think is just gonna be a plus. However, Iron Mode only costs 17 points, and that's one of my Terra Captains. I need to have a secondary Terra Captain. I don't need to have one, but I would like one. Um, I like this theory that you should have more than, one of the Terra Captains should be a physical mon, one should be a special mon. So I was looking at what kind of stuff can I grab from the physical side that could be decent. And at the same time, I could use a little bit more removal. I still have, I believe half my team at this point is still weak to rocks, which I don't necessarily enjoy. So looking at the stuff, I was actually gonna grab the other version of this, but it got sniped. But you know what? I'm very happy with this. We ended up getting Hisuian the Sidui, also known as Robin Hood's shiny, of course, because I put a lot of work on getting this freaking thing shiny in Legends Arceus in anticipation for the home release, and the only thing that I've been able to draft from those is actually this one, which I'm very happy. It fits very well with the Strange Ball, in my opinion. But yeah, no, this thing gives me, a ground resist, somewhat reliable because he does get it, still gets access to. I believe it gets roots, but even if it doesn't get roots, it still gets synthesis. So it does have reliable recovery. Gives me momentum with U-turn, which is great. Gives me access to knockoff, which I'm big of. I enjoy utility on my Pokemon. His signature move seems to be okay. I think Close Combat is still better, but if I can run it, I mean, I guess it's nice to have the option. And it gets Defog, which is the big one for me, because again, hazards control is a premium on this generation. This is also going to be my secondary Terra Captain, because it only costs 7 points. So between this and Iron Mode, I'm actually only spending 24 points on Terra Captains, but that's okay with me. The fact that this thing gets scrappy, it means that is immune to Intimidate, and it also can spam Close Combat. So can really switch in many ghost types into this thing reliably to be immune. And of course, since this is coming from Legends Arceus, he shall be known as Robin Hood's the Distemp of the Distemp Pass. Very good new ribbon that comes out on this generation. Okay, so we're getting to the tail end of the draft at this point. Like I said, everything else I get is a premium. I notice I don't have a normal type by now. I should probably get one. I just got mauled by a Dragapult in another league because I didn't have a good normal type that could wall it or at least slow it down. So I shouldn't make that mistake here. Originally, I was gonna go with the Dunsper, but literally got a snipe one like on the same round that I was gonna pick it up. I mean, I'm not too worried about it. Dunsper is much better on paper than on the actual application in my opinion. But it would have been nice, give him more bulk, but at the same time you don't want to drop too much bulk on this generation because the meta is so offensive. Um, so anyway, I know I'm gonna be repeating types, but I really don't care, mostly because Iron Mode can Terra. So we're gonna go ahead and grab Funky Monkey, the Graphii, um, which is actually which I actually won the SPS Lugia with. That was a national Dex Gen 9 league. But this Pokemon put a lot of work on it. I dropped Hyper Offense on that team, and this Pokemon was great for, pivoting around and utility. Gives me access to Toxic, which is great. Like I said, knockoff is big on me. Parting shot with Prankster is fantastic. Don't even need to run Prankster because this thing is just so fast at base 110. On birding could be cheeky, could be sneaky. Um, and yeah, it has a pretty good move pool. I enjoy what it does and how it does it. Because I won that league, I went and held myself a shiny one, and I'm very happy to have it. Another grounded poison type, which is never bad. To mostly ensure my opponents are not going to try to toxic toxic spike stack me, just because I do have two very very good grounding types. And yeah, I I did manage to get lucky and get a Mark shiny for this, so he should be known as Funky Monkey the Sociable. Um, and yeah, at this point I only have what 4 or 5 points left, 6 points left actually. Just sounds like a lot, but it's really not, to be honest. I don't want to draft one tier or two tiers Pokemon unless I absolutely have to. And my team pretty much has everything I want. It doesn't have anything that I necessarily need. The only thing that I was still wanting was a ghost type because again, I like hazard stacking people, and most defogers get punished by Zapdos. So if somebody wants to come in and defog on it, you will get punished on it. And to a degree, spin does as well. However, I would like to be able to stop spin. So I was looking at whatever ghost types were available. There were many. I was actually very much considering drafting Drifling, but I don't know. I decided to go another route, I guess, or maybe a snipe. I don't remember. Uh, and also, I could always use more removal because, again, removal is a premium. I like to have a lot of options for removal. So we are gonna go ahead and grab the last Pokemon of the team this season. It's gonna be Oricorio Sensu, I believe this is the form called. Which of course we're gonna name Shizuku after the Sky Striker Ace, because I name all of my Oricorios after them. Um, and yeah, this Pokemon is pretty good actually. This is not those type of leagues that allow all four Oricorio forms on one Pokemon or on one pick. You actually have to drop whatever form you want. And I think this is probably the best or the second best after Electric. So very happy that I was able to get it. This Pokemon does allow me to spin block. It has a very decent speed tier on the 90s. And it does get a reliable recovery roost, so it's gonna make if nothing else, it's gonna be annoying for my opponents to try to spin if I decide to bring this. It also has access to defog, which is more removal for me, which is great. It gives me more freedom with my higher end Pokemon, and you can also quiver them, so you can never sleep on that. This thing has almost swept me before, so you have to be very careful. Um, Coming straight from the Alolan region, and it's a dancer, so it's got that top quality footprint, so it's gonna be known as Shizuku the Strutter. And yeah, that is pretty much the team that we have drafted for this season of the um, FBL. So seems like the games are gonna go up every Sunday. So next Sunday should be the first week. If you are, if you want to watch the games, feel free to, you know, check them out. And thank you everybody for watching. We'll see you on the battles now. Bye.